Blog Talk Radio.
For the next couple of hours, join us as we explore the imagination, the intuition, the inner realm, the inner world, winding our way into our discovery of the fifth dimension. What it is, what it means, how it looks, how it feels. Discovering new, broader perspectives of life as humans on the earthly plane. A journey within, a journey into a new, yet ancient frontier. A journey into the heart. The journey of our lifetimes. So please allow reason to coexist with your intuition, with inspiration, with your imagination. And join me in the discovery of more and more of ourselves. I promise you a journey unlike any other. Let us together explore the mystical, the amazing, the magnificent world of heart-based living in the fifth dimension. Welcome to the Consciousness Evolution Hour with your host, Philip Mollica. And a fond and lovely New Year's Day to you, 2015. This is Philip Mollica. You're tuned into the Consciousness Evolution Hour. Welcome. I'm very pleased to have you aboard here. We're going to have a great show tonight, New Year's Day 2015. How exciting. We're throwing it all out, folks. We're digging it all in. We're starting new. Out with the old, in with the new, right? Let's do it. All right, well, the first thing that's got to go is all these goddamn belief systems, all these negative beliefs. We're going to find out what that's about tonight. We're going to see how we have created these ourselves in order to have this experience, this physical experience on Earth. What we're going to do is we're going to give people a chance to come in. We're going to run the announcements for the network, and by the way, this is eternal thanks to Rob Gauthier and the Enlightenment Evolution Network for having us here on Thursday nights, every Thursday night at 9 p.m., 6 p.m. Pacific. Thank you very much. I'm here with my dear, lovely Debbie, and we're having fun. We had to race around and get a show created just for tonight because Blog Talk Radio decided, hey, you don't have a show anymore on Thursday nights. What's up? So I had to scramble around, create a brand new show. So everything's fresh tonight. Fresh text, fresh pictures, same intro. Sorry, we didn't get that far. But we are going to really have a great show tonight. I'm really pleased to have you all along here with us. We're going to run the announcements right now for the network, for the Enlightenment Evolution Networks 1 and 2. Many, many exciting shows coming up. Great hosts, great guests, great topics, a wonderful crew to be associated with. And I'm so pleased to be here with each and every one of them, and so pleased to be here with you. So let's run the announcements. We got about 7.5 minutes of announcements we're going to run right now. Everybody get to their seats. Get yourself a nice, refreshing refreshment. Fire it up if that's what you got to do. Hey, we're all there. Smooth. And we'll be right back. Okay, here's the announcements. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. About 7 minutes. We'll be back with a show on negative beliefs, belief systems, and the work that we're going to be doing a lot of. Because, folks, this is what's left. This is what's left for us. This is what's left for us to do to make that final leap. We're in the last mile. Folks, this is the final mile, the last mile. We've all worked our frickin' asses off to get here. We've torn apart our lives. We've looked at everything that we can think of to look at, and those sneaky beliefs. They come right, I don't know what to do with them. Yes, we do. We're going to tell you what you can do to help neutralize those ideas. I'm going to be using some text. I want to give props and proper credit to Daryl Anka and Bashar Communications. We are using some notes from their most recent communication, The Black Box, about beliefs, negative beliefs, and belief systems. We're going to use a portion of that just as some footnotes for me to work from and use those as a discussion base for how you can do this work, this final mile, this last mile that we're all working through as we discover our true selves and our true nature and the nature of existence and the nature of physical reality. So stick with us. Philip Mollica's Consciousness Evolution Hour, 7.5 minutes. We'll be right back, and we'll take it up there. Talk to you then.
Hi, this is Karen Newman from the show About Oneness, and here's what's coming up on the Enlightenment Evolution Network 1 and 2, starting on Monday, December the 29th, until Sunday, January the 4th. Simply put, Rob Gauthier, founder of the EEN and the host of the show that started it all, the Enlightenment Evolution Hour, has put together the greatest metaphysical radio network ever. 7 days a week, we have shows that will aid you on your path to enlightenment, evolution, and ascension. On EEN1, on Monday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Heart to Heart Talk Radio with your host, Daniel Scranton. Join Daniel and his featured guests discussing a wide variety of metaphysical topics. Daniel channels the creators, the Hathors, Ophelia the Fairy, Archangel Michael, and the latest, the Unicorn Collective. Daniel and his guests will take phone calls and questions, and it's sure to generate high-frequency discussions. You can find more about Daniel on his website, danielscranton.com, and also on Facebook. Go to the Events tab on Daniel's website to learn more about Daniel's upcoming events. Daniel's guest on Monday will be Rob Gauthier. On Tuesdays at noon Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please join hosts Megan Crandallmeyer and Rachel Archelaus for Radio Inspiration, Expression, and Abundance for their show, Soulfulpreneur. Spiritual business specialists Rachel and Megan will bring you inspiring conversations with people who are living their soul purpose. Frequent guests include psychic mediums, channelers, coaches, artists, and authors. Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, is the show that started it all, the Enlightenment Evolution Hour with host Rob Gauthier. Rob channels Treb on the first Wednesday of each month and will take callers' questions. On the third Wednesday, he will have special guests such as guest channelers and other metaphysical teachers. The other 2 Wednesdays are freestyle call-in shows to discuss whatever callers have on their minds. Tune into Rob on Wednesday nights, and you can also find him at trebchanneling.com or on Facebook on the Enlightenment Evolution Network group page. Rob has a few special announcements. Every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, trebchanneling.com hosts an hour-long meditation class. Please go to trebchanneling.com to register. Coming up on January 3rd is the online interactive Density Masterclass. The cost is just $25 for this 4-hour study of densities, dimensions, universal constructs, and much, much more. Then from April 3rd to April the 5th, 2015, you can spend 3 days with Treb and Ardif in Asheville, North Carolina, learning to channel during the lunar eclipse. This is a 3-day workshop on channeling, only 30 spots available. And on September 19th, Treb Channeling proudly presents the Channel Panel, Awakening from Within. Channelers include Lee Harris, Sean Swanson, Daniel Scranton, Nora Harold, Wendy Kennedy, Brad Johnson, Rob Gauthier. This special live event is available in person and also on live stream. The cost of admission is $120 per day or $200 for both days. And on live stream, $50 per day or $100 for both days. Go to trebchanneling.com to purchase a ticket. On Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, join host Philip Mollica for the Consciousness Evolution Hour. Join Philip and his special guest and co-hosts as they discuss the shift, ascension, timelines, metaphysical concepts, and the fifth dimension. Find Philip on the Consciousness Evolution 2.0 group page on Facebook and also on YouTube. On Fridays, The Earth Experience with Kalina Angel, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. The Earth Experience explores our soul's expansion through our human experiences on Earth. Kalina will help you navigate and expand through these exciting times and the confusions that we are manifesting as 5D beings. Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Victoria Vives hosting Earth Sky People Radio, living in harmony with Mother Earth and awakening to an intergalactic society, bringing you to greater awareness regarding starseeds and extraterrestrial life, living in harmony with one another, with Mother Earth, and with life beyond Earth, the transformative power of music, frequency, and sound, shamanism, ancestral wisdom, and the star nations, intentional communities, self-sustainable and regenerative living, the interstellar alliance, or planet Earth becoming a part of an intergalactic society, and much, much more. On January the 3rd, join Victoria for a Q&A with Sasha Stone regarding any details on joining the New Earth Nation, forming intentional communities, and becoming sovereign. You can learn more about Victoria and her upcoming events on victoriavives.com/radio. On Sundays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, is my show, About Oneness. About Oneness is a weekly radio program focused on celebrating the ongoing conscious awakening of our planet and our realization of oneness. I am an integrated channel, medium, Reiki master, and metaphysical teacher. I have a varied and diverse background, including that of being a singer, dancer, writer, as well as working in the sport, nutrition, and fitness world. As a channel, I bring forward the information of my non-physical guides called Theos, whose message is always that of oneness and unconditional love. This show for me is about integrating all of my experiences and following my highest excitement, which is tapping into the truth of the universe. If you would like to learn more about me, my upcoming guests, as well as see many videos on channeling and teachings, you can go to aboutoneness.com. My guest on January the 4th is Matt Kahn, a spiritual teacher and highly attuned empathetic healer. His spontaneous awakening arose out of an out-of-body experience at the age of 8 and his direct experiences with ascended masters and archangels throughout his life. As a result, he brings forth revolutionary teachings that assist energetically sensitive beings in healing the body, awakening the soul, and transforming reality throughout the power of love. Matt will be on live and he will be taking callers' questions. Be sure to call in early because the phone lines are sure to fill up. On EEN Network 2, on Saturday evenings, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, the Pied Piper and Texas Rebel hosting Disclosure Now. Disclosure Now is the On the Edge of Our Seats show that covers all topics of disclosure, from the world's most famous and obscure UFO cases to cryptozoology, conspiracies, and all things that go bump in the night. Pied Piper started his journey in Michigan in 1993 as a preteen seeing Bigfoot and never could get enough in investigating all things paranormal. Texas Rebel is a wild Texas man who loves the same journey and has been studying these same things for years. Join them as they cover all things in the human experience that just cannot be answered by anyone. And remember, you never have to miss any show on the Enlightenment Evolution Network 1 or 2. All shows are available to listen to again immediately after they air on Blog Talk Radio on playback, or you can go to the Enlightenment Evolution Network YouTube page. All right, back to the show.
And welcome back to the show, Consciousness Evolution Hour with Philip Mollica. Tonight our topic is negative beliefs and belief systems. And what we're going to be doing, you'll have to apologize, I'm a little out of breath. We're running around trying to find a power strips because the batteries we have for our handheld camera are a little light in the limp in the wrist, as it were, and they don't last very long. So we're trying to find a wall plug that will work with it, that will keep it going so we don't have to stop and restart the recording. But, of course, none of that has anything to do with you. We're actually going to be talking about belief systems. And really the first thing that I wanted to talk about is, and this is really the basic idea of this, and this is something Debbie and I are working on every single day, is just being in awareness, being fully present in each moment, and being in awareness of what we're thinking and feeling in each moment. Because those feelings will lead us directly to the beliefs that sustain them and that create the emotion that we're feeling. And the idea is that if you're feeling any type of negative emotion, I absolutely guarantee you that there is a belief that's associated to that. And some of them can be very subtle, and this is as we move along, further along here, and we tune ourselves, we're actually fine-tuning ourselves, because we've really dealt with probably 95% of our major belief systems, at least knowing what they are. If you can get that far to know what your beliefs are, then that gives you something to work from. It really gives you a basis to understand, and I want to back up even more and go to a higher level with this. I want to go right to the end game, and that's something we're going to talk about more later on, is going to the 0 point, going to the end game. And the end game is, and I want you to hear this truly, is that we are spiritual beings, period. I want you to hear that, and I'm going to repeat it, because I want this to land with you. We are spiritual beings, period. Everything that follows that is what we've created in order to have this physical experience on Earth. We could not have a physical experience on Earth without polarity. Because if you'll remember our discussion from last week with our fireside chat with God, all that is includes all things. All things. Not just the good things, not just the positive things, all things, all vibrations, all frequencies are contained within God or all that is. So if you're looking for just a God or an all that is that it only represents good and positive things, then you're really barking up the wrong tree, because that is not what this experience is about. In order for us to have a physical experience in a polarized environment, a dualistic environment, it absolutely requires the existence of dark and light, positive and negative. And in order for us to convince ourselves that we are living in a outer created physical reality which offers us choices or preferences, in the preferred choice is implied the unpreferred choice. And this is so important to understand, because if you are living in a physical experience, if you are living here on Earth, if you are having this outer created reality physical experience, you cannot avoid the existence or invalidate negative beliefs and negative belief systems. Remember, the negative is implied in the positive. That's what the dualistic, polarized, outer created reality physical experience is all about. It's about your ability to choose your preferences. We talked a lot in the past about your ability to choose. And you always have the ability to choose. We do operate under the auspices of free will. But that doesn't mean that we invalidate the negative. You can't invalidate it. You can just choose differently. You can just choose what you prefer. And the negative belief systems and the negative beliefs will do everything they can to sustain themselves. And the first part of Bashar's transmission really dealt with all of the tricks the negative beliefs will use to sustain themselves within your experience. And I really think most of us know what all those tricks are. But the idea is that you can bypass all of that. That really is a discussion that is applicable for many, many people. is the ability to recognize negative beliefs. But you can cut to the chase. You can really go to the end game and just know anytime you are feeling negative emotion, anytime you are feeling unworthy, anytime you are feeling less than, anytime you are feeling powerless, you have a belief in a negatively charged frequency. Or the frequency isn't the right word, negatively based belief that you are propagating through your adherence to it. Let's put it that way. You're allowing that negative belief to convince you to choose what you know is not your preferred circumstance. So this idea of bypassing all the tricks that, I'm saying we can bypass all of the tricks that negative beliefs play and just go straight to your emotional state. Because if you go to your emotional state, if you pay attention, and this then goes back to the idea of being fully present in every single moment, being fully aware in that moment of your state of being. If you can be aware of your state of being in every single moment, you can be your own policeman. You can do that work. And again, I'm talking that most of us who are listening here, many of us that are listening here, have been through the majority of our negative beliefs. We've really worked through that. We've had, basically 5 years here that we've been doing this transitional state from 2010. We're now entering 2015. Folks, this is the last mile. We are fine-tuning because, as I told you last week, and as God told you last week, everything is going to change. Everything is going to change in the next few 10 years. I'm not even pushing it out that far. In my world, in my perspective, in my experience, everything is changing daily. I am not the same person I was 6 months ago. I am not the same person I was a year ago. I'm not even the same person I was yesterday or an hour ago. Because in each moment, I'm creating myself anew. In each moment, I am reassessing everything. Nothing goes without examination. Nothing comes through without examination, even the good stuff. This is where we get caught up sometimes because we think, we've settled on this because this is, it may be the lesser of two evils. It may be something that you just are really afraid of doing something differently, but you can't admit that to yourself, that you have a fear based on a belief that you're carrying around with you. So you always have to be aware in each moment of your emotional state, of your state of being, of your feeling. And this is so easy to accomplish if you are aware in each moment. If you are fully present in each moment with yourself and can be honest with yourself, and this is really the key and the trick to all of it. You have to be completely transparent with yourself. You cannot accept anything because that's how belief systems, it's one of the ways that belief systems continue to foster and sustain themselves, is by making you think that everything is peachy keen, but yet you've got some fear inside you that really is holding you back from fully expressing who you truly are. And there's all kinds of ways that they'll go about that. But the bottom line is that you are spiritual beings. And as spiritual beings, you are eternal. And I really want this to land. Once again, we're going to talk about it again and again because I really want this idea to land. You are a spiritual being who created the illusion of a physical outer created reality so that you could have a physical experience on Earth and make choices over a duration of time so that you could actually see the process of your creation. So you are spiritual beings. Period. That's it. You focus part of that, your spirit, part of your essence, into a very narrow band vibrational frequency. And as you do so from the spirit realm, you have created, and not just you, the human collective has created a series of belief systems that we all more or less have bought into, that we can all agree on is quote unquote real. Because if we, and folks, that is the veil. That's the veil. It wasn't anything that's pushed upon us. It's not something that somebody did to us. We did this. You and I and every other single person having a physical experience right now accepted the idea, Bashar called it the willing suspension of disbelief. What are you suspending disbelief in? You're suspending disbelief in the idea that you're an eternal being. Because if you remembered you're an eternal being, you couldn't have a physical experience. Because there would be no duality in that sense. You wouldn't believe yourself. You wouldn't believe all the evidence that's around you that is telling you you are having a challenging struggle, perhaps, of a physical experience. So we accept certain base, Seth called them root assumptions. There are various root assumptions that we all accept upon coming here. Upon our birth as we grow. And part of that is forgetfulness. Part of that is forgetting, Dia, that we are eternal beings. But now we're in the final mile. And it's time to set all of that aside. And if you're serious about this, as I know most of you are, many of you are, maybe all of you, if you're serious about this as I am, then it's time to set aside these ideas and really, truly discover yourself anew in your true nature, which is as an eternal being having a physical experience. And knowing that you are an eternal being. It's not a belief that you're an eternal being. It's a knowing. You know you are an eternal being. The belief comes in when you accept all the core root assumptions of the human collective, of physical existence, of outer created reality that tells you that you're not. So we move through our days, moments, being fully present in each moment and being completely aware of what our emotional state is, what our state of being is. And that's how you can bypass all of the ideas of you don't have to know what the negative beliefs are doing. You just have to know what your emotional state is, what your state of being is, and you can bypass all of that and then go right to the core of it. Because you will then know that if you're experiencing a negative belief, that there is or if you're experiencing a negative emotion rather, that there is a negative belief associated with that. Now, negative beliefs in and of themselves are not bad. It's not a bad thing. Bad is when you don't recognize that you are having them, that you are carrying with you a negative belief system or a negative belief about anything. And even that's not bad because, again, there is no risk. We are eternal beings. I'm going to say this over and over. There is no risk. But we're using all of our power as eternal beings to convince ourselves that we're not. What do you think of that? Using all of our power as eternal spiritual beings to convince ourselves that we're not. Goodness gracious. That should give you a big tip-off right there. Because if you can know yourself in your true nature, you will never again fear anything. You won't fear death. You won't fear the government. You won't fear the economy. You won't fear other countries. You won't fear extraterrestrials. You won't fear anything because you will know yourself as the powerful, eternal being that you are. Spirit realm is timeless. There is no time there. We are blessed with the gift of duration here that allows us to see our creative process. And everything in our physical outer created reality is a choice point. The choice is, do you choose what's in alignment with you, or do you choose what is not? Now, negative beliefs will do everything they can to make you think that they are the better choice than what your actual preference is or would be. If you really recognized it as a belief and held it up to yourself, because again, this is a matter of turning and facing yourself. It's a matter of having brutal honesty with yourself. Brutal honesty with yourself and being willing to look at everything. Good, bad, indifferent, neutral. But being willing to look at it and see where it came from. And see if it aligns with the idea of what you know about yourself. What do you know about yourself? You know that you are eternal. You know that you are a spiritual being having a physical experience. So we can really jump right to the end game on this whole thing. And if you just remember that, everything else will fall into place. Then it's the idea of, as you move through your days, being aware of your emotional state, being aware of your state of being, and then being willing to turn and face yourself in that state of being and looking and saying, why do I feel the way I do? What belief am I carrying with me that would make me feel the way I do? What state of being does Phil think makes him unworthy? Makes him inappropriate? I have some juicy ones. I still don't struggle with them, but I do find them continue to pop up because I haven't completely dealt with them yet. And that is just a reflection from me to you to show you that you're not alone doing this. We're all doing this, folks. Every single one of us. And as tuned, as aligned as I feel like I am most of the time, 99% of the time, there's still that 1%, and it pops up. It comes up. Some circumstance will trigger it. And here's another idea I want you to think about. You will go through all kinds of gyrations in the most circuitous way, and thanks to Michael Burton for filling me in with the Rube Goldberg. You will set up a Rube Goldberg just to generate an emotional state, an emotional experience for yourself. And the trick here is, don't confuse the emotional experience with the means that got you there. They are two different things. Because you can do all kinds of things subconsciously, unconsciously, to bring yourself into a place where you have an emotional experience. This is part of the process of becoming a complete being, is allowing all experiences, all expressions, not invalidating anything, positive, negative, or indifferent. You cannot invalidate any portion of all that is. You are all that is. All that is you. Therefore, if all that is the umbrella that contains the whole positive, negative, neutral experiences, you also must not invalidate any of those ideas. You can choose. You can know what your preference is. You can know what's in alignment with you. But you can't invalidate it. Abraham used to say, well, if you're making a pie, you don't go into the kitchen and throw out all the pepper because you're not going to use it in your pie. Pepper's good too, in a different dish. So you don't go into your kitchen and throw everything away that you're not going to use in your pie. You let it sit on the shelf. You can't invalidate any of it. Debbie and I really are living this. In every moment, we are aware of our own experience, our own emotional states, and we are reflecting to each other. And this is really the beautiful thing about being able to do this with somebody else, is you're able to reflect to each other what you need to know about your own, what you are attracting. In that sense, because you are attracting through the energy that you are generating, or through the frequency or vibrational state that you are holding. So if you're generating a negative frequency or a less than positive state or vibration, then you're going to attract those things to you. And part of the thing you're going to attract to you is the reflection of that back to you. People make the mistake of saying, oh, so-and-so treated me poorly, and so-and-so said this about me, and they push it all out onto everyone else, not understanding or realizing that it's all a reflective state. So as we move through our days together, we are able to reflect very nicely not only the positive aspects of each other, but when we catch the other generating a negatively charged emotional state or experience or thought or idea, we're just able to quickly turn that around and reflect it back to the other and say, is this what you really meant? Is this what you really believed? Do you really believe this about yourself? because I can sit here and tell you that that's all bullshit. Because, I'm here with you each day, and I can see what we're doing and what you're doing, and what you just said is all bullshit. That's a belief. And it's not in a way, nah. It's more like you might want to just take a look at this. This is something that you just might want to take a look at. And we can do this for each other in a very kind and loving and compassionate way. And it's so key to have someone that you can use to reflect yourself back to you. It really is very, very helpful. And I know a lot of people try to do this work by themselves because they don't feel like they have peers or friends that they can share it with. And I highly encourage you that if you are in this situation, don't try to do it alone. There is help everywhere. In fact, if you ask for help, it is immediately available to you from every place in the universe. It is being offered to you. But you can only see what you're a vibrational match to. But help is immediately available to you, and I would highly encourage you to seek out groups. We have a meetup group, and I'm going to use this for my shameless plug, although there's nothing to be ashamed of. That's a belief. See how easy that works? I have nothing to be ashamed of about my group, my live meetup group. But that's an old term, and it was easy and it flowed out. But it does reflect a small belief. And that's what we're doing, is we're fine-tuning. And this is what I want to point out to you. So when I say a shameless plug, of course I mean it jokingly. But it still reflects back to me the idea that I find myself, trying to find a word for it, less than what I am. It's a discounting. Thank you very much. It's discounting yourself. And we all do it all the time. And a certain amount of self-deprecating behavior, that it's always good for a chuckle. But it's also very easy to fall into a situation where you believe it to be true. So anyway, let me get back to where I was before we jumped on that belief. I'm going to use this as a plug for our Tuesday night meetup group. We have the Consciousness Evolution Humanity's Future meetup group that meets in Clarkston, Michigan. This is a live group. In other words, everyone gets in their cars or gets on their motor scooters and they head down to the LA Cafe on Dixie Highway in Clarkston, Waterford on the first and third Tuesdays of the month, and 20 to 30 of us meet up there, and we sit down, and generally speaking, I will do a half hour to 45-minute monologue around whatever is current in my experience, current in what is at the top of my mind, and then we will open up the floor and allow a roundtable discussion where everyone can pipe in, share whatever they want to share, ask questions, share their own experiences, and then get some feedback from. I'm telling you, the folks that are showing up there are absolutely fully present, self-aware, beautiful, beautiful individuals, and I am constantly amazed at the I'll say the quality. That's not really the word I'm looking for, but the absolute sincerity of folks who are showing up there, who are sincerely interested in taking the next steps to discovering more of who they are, discovering themselves as an aspect of all that is, so that we can together go down this last mile. And I keep using that term, and I really like it, because this is the last mile. These last 1%, 5%, 10% of beliefs, of negative beliefs that we're carrying around, really are dealing with many of the core root assumptions of our collective experience, of our human collective experience. And they have served us very well. Give us a moment, please. They really have served us very well. They've allowed us to move through eons of time and have many, many varied experiences, male, female, in all of our incarnational experiences, which all are happening simultaneously, by the way, right now. You are literally rubbing elbows with your past and future selves, literally rubbing elbows with them. It's such a short trip away, and this is why people often will become very ensconced. They'll become very, very intrigued with some of these other lives. But I have to tell you, the only life you need to be concerned with is the one you're sitting in, and the skin you're in, the bag of bones that you're sitting in right now. All of those other experiences are there to help you just as you help them. When you come to new conclusions, you offer that to every incarnated soul within your oversoul experience. And by the same token, they offer the same to you. So you will often get things in your dreams, in intuitions, that are coming from these simultaneous incarnations of you. Now, when I say of you, you are you. You are unique in that sense. There will never be another you. Not in this incarnation. Not in this experience. You are part of a much larger oversoul that has hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of incarnated lives that are simultaneous to yours, which are also you at that level, at the oversoul level. But you are uniquely you, and you will never be annihilated. The you that you know right now will never, ever be annihilated. That's how eternal you are. Give us a moment. So, 2015, the last 1%, 5%, 10% of the beliefs, which are collective beliefs, more or less, which are still beliefs that are deep-seated, that are so deep-seated, not hidden, mind you, but deep-seated such that we can be almost blind to them. Because we've done them for so long, because we've accepted them as truth for so long, that they don't appear like they could ever be any other way. But if they're generating a negative emotion in you, if they are generating a negative experience, if they are generating fear in you, that's your key. That's your skeleton key. That's the moment you see that, you know that you as eternal being, that is not true about you. So then it's just backtracking. It's just backtracking. You back up. You go, okay, where did it come from? Where did it come from? Where did it come from? Did it come from here? When did I start feeling it? Did I start feeling it when I said this or when somebody else said that? When did I start feeling bad? And you just backtrack. And normally I'm not one to say to go backwards in time and dig up the old, and that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm not suggesting that you do the Freud thing and go back to your childhood, please don't do that. Everything you need is right here, right now. There may be a basis for those beliefs that you're carrying with you, those negative beliefs. There may be a basis for them way back in your childhood, but you don't have to go back that far. All you have to do is look at you now, that we carry around with us. So deeply ingrained. Who told you that first? Does it matter? Not generally. They're long gone. They came into your life to offer you that reflection so that you could have an emotional experience of physical reality, so that you could experience the polarity of life, of physical life, the duality, the dark and the light, the positive and the negative. Those people played great roles for you, even though in many ways they could appear to be very cruel, really appear to be quite awful people. But you have to remember, too, that they're eternal beings as well, and they're playing a role for you and played a role for you. So, in that sense, we had a discussion about forgiveness earlier, but in that sense, you can forgive it all, because it has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you whatsoever, and it is not true. Whatever they told you about you, what an awful person you were, how terrible you are, you didn't deserve to live, you're unworthy. Have any more? Shame on you. Yeah, pick them out of a hat. Doesn't matter. It was in order for you to have an emotional experience. And remember the idea that the emotional experience is not the same as the means that brought you to it. That goes for the role players in your life as well. Don't confuse the emotional experience with the reflections, the Rube Goldbergs, the horrible, awful people in your past or now that are making you feel bad. It's not their fault, folks. Just let them off the hook. Let yourself off the hook. Because it's all meant to serve you. Because it's all meant to lead you into a full, complete expression of who you are. It's meant to lead you into knowing your true self. Give us a moment. One moment. And thank you very much. We're back. I'm going to look at a couple notes here. We're going to go through a few things along the lines of this discussion. I think we've laid a real nice groundwork for you all to look at. And I want to remind you once again, I know I've said this a number of times tonight, but I do want to remind you again that we have entered the last mile. The last 1, 10, 5, 10%. These are really us fine-tuning ourselves. And as such, many of these beliefs and ideas are going to be very subtle. And the only thing that is going to bring you into awareness of them as negative beliefs about yourself, being fully present in each moment, being fully aware and being completely honest with yourself. I'll give you an example. If you have a penchant for saying something terrible about yourself, I don't care what an aspect it's around. It could be around your trouble swimming, your weight. It could be around how you're. I'm a bad fill in the blank. I'm not a good fill in the blank. It doesn't matter. These are beliefs. This is what you're carrying around. And so you have to have the complete willingness to turn and face yourself. Many people settle into these beliefs and just say, that's just who I am. Bullshit. It is not who you are. You were given certain inclinations and disinclinations from the whole, from all that is, to be the unique reflection of all that is that only you can be. That does not make you bad at anything. Oh, I'm bad at math. So you're bad at math. There's worse things to be. But I'm talking about ideas that are much more personal. And we all have them. And we've all had people in our lives who were very willing to tell us exactly what they thought of us. Or due to their own fears or supposed shortcomings reflected that back to you. You as an impressionable child. You may have carried them all this time, carried those beliefs all this time. But now is the time to circumvent all of that and know yourself as an eternal being having a physical experience. You had to create negative beliefs. The human collective had to create a system of duality and polarity in order to have a physical experience. It goes hand in hand. It doesn't have to continue. Because you can know yourself as that eternal being and wake up. Wake up. Know who you are. Know that you're here having a physical experience and know that you are creating it. Nobody else. No one else is creating your experience. You can use all your creative abilities to create a feeling of powerlessness. You can create an illusion of being powerless to the world. You can create the illusion of being powerless to nature. But when you know that you're in a spirit and you're in the spirit world and you are literally creating your experience here on this physical planet, you can know of your connection with nature, which is actually one of the single best ways for you to know yourself is for you to reconnect to nature, reconnect to the earth. You are your body, which we haven't talked about tonight. We haven't talked about the body consciousness. Your body is literally a foot soldier here for you. It's a marriage of earth spirit and your spirit. It's an avatar of sorts, but it's so much more than that. because every cell in your physical body is communicating with you at levels that you aren't even aware of. The smallest cell in your toe knows the location of every other unit of consciousness in the multiverse. It knows the barometric pressure on Jupiter well. Smart cell. And it knows its relation to every other cell and unit of consciousness in the whole multiverse. And that information is updated every single microsecond. It happens so fast, it isn't even measurable by our instruments of measurement. We can't even pinpoint that mode of communication, that level of communication. We can't even pinpoint it on our physical instruments. It happens so fast. And every cell in your body is in a cooperative effort to commune with your spirit and allow you to have this physical experience. Most of us think of our bodies as being relatively unchanging, and I would beg to differ. Because you are literally having your body is being created anew in each moment. You literally die and are reborn millions of times a second. You come in waves. Your consciousness marries with your body, your physical body, millions of times a second. Your body is literally created anew, as is the whole universe as you know it. It is as right to say that creation began tomorrow, or that the beginning of the world is now. That's actually a true statement. The world began now. Because in each and every moment, the eternal love of all that is, of God, sustains everything that we know. And you are a part of that. That just, if you can just land that and know how big you are, you don't stop here. There's no glass ceiling. Your consciousness goes right back to the top. Right back to all that is, to God, however you want to see it. That's how far your consciousness reaches. That's how eternal you are. That's how big you are. But as part of your agreement, when you manifested physically in this incarnation, you accepted certain collective ideas of belief systems, many of them negatively based. And again, without those negatively charged negative beliefs, you could not have had the experience of duality and polarity that you have had up to this point in your life. So bouncing back again, we're in the last mile. We're fine-tuning. We're fine-tuning our consciousness, fine-tuning our awareness, fine-tuning ourselves in the discovery of ourselves as complete beings, in the discovery of ourselves as all that is. And once you land that idea with yourself, everything else will begin to fall into place. Because if you can face every circumstance, every situation, every event in your life with the idea that you are an eternal being, that there is no risk, that death is not an end, And not only that, but you choose the time of your death because it is a step in the process of your continued expansion. That's all death is. It's just another step in the process. Because without death, you couldn't begin then anew. You may choose to incarnate again. You may choose not to die for quite a while. We might live till we're 150 or more. We may choose to hang out here for a while for the work that we're going to be doing. But we can also choose to tell our bodies that they don't have to age. Big belief. Holy moly. That's a big one for most people. Most people think it's a given. You will age. You age like the seasons. Your body is a manifestation of the earth. The earth reflects age in its seasons. Spring is the rebirth. Summer, the adolescence, if you will. Fall, the dropping of leaves. Perhaps you could call it the dropping of things you no longer need. And we associate winter with death. That is what our world reflects to us. That is the nature of one of the collective beliefs of our human experience. We all know we're born and then we die at some point. But the idea that you're going to deteriorate, that your body is going to deteriorate, oh, my sight's going to go bad, oh, I'm going to lose my hearing, oh, my poor back. They're just beliefs. Of course, your body will happily reflect to you whatever your beliefs are. Because I can hear people go, I know I'm in pain. Yes, you are. Do you know why you're in pain? Because you believe it to be true. Because you believe that your body began deteriorating the moment you were born. Most of us don't even know how we went from being an infant to an adult. How does that happen? You didn't have to think about it, did you? Your body just did it for you. You didn't have to be involved in every step of the process, going through puberty. Oh, for God's sakes. Can I skip that one? But you didn't have to be involved in that. You did not consciously, were not consciously aware of the infinite processes that took place to take you from being an infant to an adult. You not once did you think about that process. The most you thought about is, oh, my weight's a little high, or, oh, I need to work out a little more. My muscles are tired, I need, more activity. But as far as getting taller and developing your muscles and developing your body and your organs, you didn't have to think about it once. That just goes to show you all of the processes that are done for you. And as long as you don't get in the way of them with your beliefs, those processes will go on eternally. They will go on unimpeded. You know what ages your body? Beliefs, stress, negative emotion. Do you know when you sleep and dream that your body ages less than when you're awake? Why do you think that might be? Because when you're awake, you got all these goddamn negative beliefs that are telling you otherwise. That are telling you you're tired and you're lazy and you're unhealthy and God knows what else. That's what ages you. left to its own devices, you put your body at rest, you don't age nearly as much as you do when you're awake and thinking. God forbid, take away that thinking shit. Where would we be? Can I just not think for a while? Can I just be? Oh, what a concept. To just be. What do you be? You be you. And the more you do you, the easier it's going to be for you. How do you do you? You listen to your emotions. You align yourself with your preferences. You take the inclinations and disinclinations that were given you for this incarnational existence, and you honor them. How do you honor them? You honor them by aligning to them, by knowing that that is your unique expression and aligning to it and fully expressing it. Fully expressing you as you. This is how you honor what was given you by you in that sense, in those terms. Because you, as the unique aspect of all that is, gave you those particular inclinations, those particular, what was the word we were using last week? Not preferences, it was in the Seth reading. You know what I'm talking about? I can't remember what the word was. But it's basically pulling from the pool of all that is, a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit over there. And finding that unique aspect that is uniquely you as a reflection of all that is. And again, you go right back to the top of all that is. You go right back to the top. You as eternal being, you as a reflection of all that is, go right back to the top. So the negative beliefs, the negative belief systems, that is the veil we've accepted. That's the human collective veil that we've accepted, more or less, in order to have this experience. You literally have to entertain and consider negative beliefs in order to have a polarized duality experience. So let's look at this list for a second. And let's just go through a few of these. These are negativity neutralizers. Again, props to Daryl Anka and Bashar Communications for these ideas, this list of what they're calling neutralizers. We'll call them awarenesses that you can use to your advantage. Let's just start at the top. The first one is remember that negative feelings are generated by negative beliefs. We talked about that tonight. If you have a negative feeling, I assure you, I promise you, that that was generated by a negative belief that you were holding. And that is your cue, that is your key to turn and face yourself in complete honesty and awareness and look at the belief that is causing you to have that negative feeling about yourself. Remember that negative beliefs are only beliefs, and they're not actually true. They will never be true, ever. So if you're feeling a negative emotion and you trace it to a negative belief, that belief will never, ever be true. That's your skeleton key. That's what you can tell yourself. I know I'm feeling this, but I know in my heart that it cannot be true about myself. Beliefs can always be changed. You always have a choice. Always have a choice. All situations are fundamentally neutral. They only become positive or negative on judgment from you. You cannot have a negative or a positive experience without a belief in that positive or negative idea first. Otherwise, it's neutral. The only way for you to have a positive or negative experience is to have a positive or negative belief about something. Period. That's how powerful beliefs are. And remember, beliefs only exist at this level in physical reality. Because you in the spirit level, you know who you are. You don't believe you're a spirit. You don't believe you're an eternal being. You know you're an eternal being. So beliefs only exist at this level of physical, outer created reality existence. That's a big one. That's an easy one to remember. Remember, your existence and worth are more fundamental than any belief. We've talked about that a lot. You are worthy, period. Any negative belief, I guarantee you, is not true. Here's a really good one. Negative beliefs are your creations. You're always in control and always empowered, even if you're using your power to make it seem that you're not in control. That's how powerful you are. Here's kind of a paradoxical one. Love our paradoxes. Boy, do we. The further you go along in this, the more paradoxes there are. Love it. Boy, when you get good at spotting paradoxes, now you can really start having some fun. Positive beliefs will never use negative reinforcement, but negative beliefs will use positive reinforcement because by design they are deceptive, because they are built to sustain themselves. How do you like that? Negative beliefs and belief systems are built by design to sustain themselves and will use any trick in the book to convince you of their validity. Thank you very much. Most negative beliefs that you've picked up belong to someone else, and you don't need to keep carrying them. That's why they're so heavy. That's why they weigh you down. As Bashar says, lighten your load and enlighten yourself. Drop the beliefs. They're heavy. They're not yours. You don't need to carry them around. You can track them down if you want, or you can just know that they're not true and let them go. Sometimes tracking them down is worth it. Sometimes tracking them down takes you into core beliefs that may be much deeper, because there is a situation that we'll talk about just briefly where there are core beliefs and then there are what we will call tertiary or secondary beliefs that surround those core beliefs. And negative beliefs will actually send you on a wild goose chase around all of these secondary beliefs, and you'll nail one and you'll think you're done, and the next moment all of a sudden you've got something very similar that pops right back into your awareness, and you go, where did you come from? That's because you've dealt with the secondary belief, but you have not dug down to the core belief. core beliefs are usually pretty simple, but they're so wide-reaching, far-reaching, that they're easy to miss because you can literally spend all your time. It's like shooting ducks in a shooting gallery. You can pop off all the little ducks as they run by you with your BB gun. But if you miss the big one, or if you hit the big one, actually, you knock them all down. There's usually a special target. I'll go into video games. That's more appropriate. Most people will understand that better. That if you hit the core belief, all of the secondary beliefs that were associated with it will disappear. So if you find yourself running from belief to belief to belief to belief, knocking them out of the air with a fly swatter, and you're getting awful tired doing that, but yet the same basic idea keeps coming up, then know that there is a core belief that you have not yet addressed. You knock off that special one. What was it, Defender? Was that the old video game, Defender? Or if you, maybe it was Space Invaders. If you hit the special, no, it wasn't. One of the old video games, if you hit the special ship, it took everything out. Asteroids? Maybe. I have to look at some of those old Nintendo games. But if you knock out the core belief, it'll take out all the secondary beliefs. So just keep that in mind, that if you find yourself running ragged, knocking out what look like small negative beliefs, that there may be a much larger core belief that if you can get down to that level and knock that one out and see that it's nonsense and see that it's not true about you, that you will instantly disable all of those other negative secondary beliefs. That's very helpful. That's especially helpful as you're just getting started in some of this, because people will spend a lot of time chasing down these secondary beliefs because they're afraid to turn and face themselves in the core beliefs because they're so deep-seated. But those are the ones where you knock off 10 points at once. You know, if you're looking at a scale of 100 and you're pinging halves and ones, and you hit that big one, boy, you can knock off 20 just like that. I mean, just like that. You can go from 50 to 70 just like that. I love putting it to numbers like this because it gives people a picture of it. So that's a really good one. Let's keep going on this. These are really good, aren't they? Frickin' awesome. Here's a really good one. Remember that you are never alone and always have help. We touched on this earlier. You are so loved and supported by the universe, by all that is. You are instantly sent everything that you can possibly use to help you when you ask for it, the moment you ask for it. The only thing that keeps you from seeing the help is your negative belief, or your idea that you've created a situation in which you are alone. So you've used all of your energy to create an illusion that you're not supported and alone. Another paradox. Thank you very much. So remember to take a look at that. You are always loved and supported, no matter what happens. No matter what. You are always loved and supported by all that is. You are in that sense and in those terms and in the greatest sense of that word, of the words, you are a portion of all that is. You are an aspect. And all that is would do anything and everything to love and support you as you move through your experience, even to the extent that it would allow you to generate a negative experience for yourself. Give us a moment, please. We'll be right back. 60 seconds. We'll be right back. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Give us a moment while we got a little drinky poo. Cool, refreshing refreshments. All right, let's keep going. This is so good. I love this belief work. We're gonna wrap up here pretty quickly, but we have a number to go through yet. So let's keep moving on these. Remember to choose what you prefer without invalidating what you don't prefer. Again, we talked about that. If you're making a pie, you don't throw out everything in the kitchen, everything in the fridge that isn't going in your pie. You don't invalidate it. Thanks to Abraham on that one. You don't have to invalidate what you don't prefer. You just choose. That's your ability. You are a God creator. That is your ability. We do operate on free will. You get to choose. And the only thing that would cause you to choose something you don't prefer is a belief that somehow makes the negative thing seem better than what would actually serve you. Here's another one we talked about tonight. Be willing to be honest with yourself about your beliefs. Absolutely critical to this process, folks. Absolutely critical to this process to be fully aware of yourself in each moment. And to be honest with yourself. To be honest when you're feeling a negative emotion around something, and instead of projecting it out on your neighbor, projecting it out on your spouse, projecting it out on your kids, projecting it out on the government or anybody, the extraterrestrials, or read my mind, for God's sakes, stop projecting it out. God doesn't love me. Bullshit. You are eternally loved. You are so loved that you would be allowed to do whatever you chose to do. That's how big and powerful you are. Oh, these are so good. Don't let fear stop your momentum. I love this. If you're going to be afraid anyway, then you might as well be afraid doing what you love instead of doing nothing. Don't let fear stop you. If you're in fear of something, that's a red flag for you to run straight at it. Don't let it stop you. Fear is there as a messenger. Fear is there to bring something to your attention, that you have a belief. That's what fear is. It's a messenger. It's saying you have a belief in something that does not serve you. It will never be true. So many of these are interconnected. Those negative beliefs about yourself will never be true. Ever. So if you find yourself in fear of something, we all have our fears. You may be in fear of extraterrestrials. You may be in fear of public speaking. You may be in fear of leaving your house. You may be in fear that you're ugly. You may be in fear that you're dumb. Is that we We don't say that anymore, do we? Nobody's dumb. Stupid? Yeah. It will never be true. These are all based around beliefs. We are all fully capable. Nobody is inherently stupid. Period. They're just different expressions. In fact, if you go back into previous civilizations, you can see that people that were thought to be the village idiot actually served a great purpose in those communities. Perhaps they were good in their dreams. Everybody has talents. Everybody has inclinations and disinclinations. They are given you for a purpose, because that is your unique reflection of all that is. Remember, all that is the umbrella that encases all, that overlays all. And that includes all expressions. Maybe you don't with others. Maybe you have trouble expressing yourself. But again, that's a belief. Maybe you have trouble finding the words. Maybe you're uncomfortable. Why would you be uncomfortable? You're all that is. You have as much right to be here. You are as worthy as any individual, anytime, anywhere, ever. Period. Are you starting to get the flow of this? Are you starting to see how this is all connected? You starting to see the base ideas here? You will always be worthy in that sense. You cannot not be. You are as critical to all that is as any other individual, alive, dead, or otherwise, as any unit of consciousness anywhere in the multiverse. Your expression as you is as important to that process, because without it, the machine comes to a grinding halt. All that is cannot be less than all that is. And that includes you. You starting to see how this all connects? You starting to see how big you are? How big this all is? How much we've gone through to allow ourselves to have this experience of ourselves, to discover who we truly are? It's the last mile. We're coming into the home stretch. The rewards will be endless. All it requires of you is brutal honesty with yourself. That's all it requires. You just have to be honest with yourself. And know, not believe, know who you really are. If you know who you really are, then you'll recognize a belief as a belief. And by the way, beliefs can be positive as well, and those are just as important to examine, because you need to know what you're saying yes to, what you're saying no to, and why you were making that choice. Process of being honest with yourself. And you may very well find that a positive belief is serving to you, and that's all well and good. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing. But still know your intention. Know your overall intention. Know why it serves you. Know why you're saying yes to it. It's actually quite rewarding, quite fun when you get to this point of working with your beliefs. This is all a lot of fun, and we've been through a lot of talk about this tonight, but I really do want to impress upon all of you how fun this can all be. You can walk gracefully with great joy through your days. And when you have a negative emotion rise, you will clap your hands and jump up and down and go, oh yeah, something more to look at, a new means of discovering who I am. Because you will turn and face yourself, and you will look at that belief, and you will recognize its validity or its invalidity. And if it is not aligned to you, you will automatically discard it. And you will find yourself coming closer and closer to ease and comfort and joy and peace with yourself. Because there is only you. I want you to hear this. In your experience, there really is only you. Everything else is a prop. Everything else and everyone else is playing a role for you so that you can discover more of who you are. So these ideas of selfishness, of arrogance, well, there are issues of arrogance. We might get to something around that. But the idea of being selfish because you are looking after yourself, bullshit. You cannot look too closely at yourself. You cannot care too much about yourself. Because there is only you, and everything here is in order for you to discover who you are. Everything, bar none. If you're having the experience of it, it is for you. And it was set up at other levels. And you know this at other levels. Now it's time to remember it here. Here, now, in your current experience, to remember who you are as we enter 2015, as we enter the final mile. It is time now. Please, don't do it for me. Do it for yourself. Know what and who you are. Push through the fear, and even though it will get louder and seem stronger, that only means it's reaching its breaking point and it will soon dissolve. If you push through fear, it will dissolve. It will sound louder because it's trying to sustain itself. The negative belief that's behind the fear is doing its best to sustain itself because that's how it was designed. You have to remember that this is a machine that was designed this way. It was a machine that was designed to provide a polarized, dualistic experience in physical reality. It's a machine. And those negative beliefs and negative belief systems were designed to sustain themselves. But we have the skeleton key because we know that they are beliefs. That's your easy way out. Know it's a belief. Turn and face yourself. Be honest with yourself. Look at it. It will never be true. See how all this is tying together? Just a few more here. Remember that being the creator of a negative belief, you will always be more powerful than it is. You created the negative belief. You did. Maybe as part of the collective, still was you. You're still the one that's buying into it. And you're the one who created it. So remember that you created it. You're more powerful than it is. It will try to convince convince you that it's more powerful than you. Again, that's part of the design. That's the way it was put together. But it's not the case. Positive beliefs allow you to feel light and free. Only negative beliefs will weigh you down and tire you out. So let go of them. Drop them. They don't belong to you. Go to the end game every chance you get. Know what your end game is. Know what your intentions are. Know what you're saying yes to and no to and why. That will tell you what your intentions are. And then go to the end game. It's difficult to explain, but once you do it for yourself, it will become very easy. Know yourself. Know your intentions. Know what you want at those levels. Know what you came here to do was to discover yourself as all that is. That's your intention. Just a couple more. Don't resist change. Go with the flow. Terms I've used before, let it be obvious. Let your life be obvious to you. Go with the flow. Don't resist it. It becomes easy. If you're struggling with something, baby, it wasn't meant to happen. If you're really struggling with it, you're trying and trying and trying, let it go. It wasn't meant to happen. If it was meant to happen, it would be easy. That whole idea of no pain, no gain, bullshit. It's all bullshit. That's a belief. You don't have to have pain to gain. Your life is meant to be a beautiful succession of synchronistic, explosive moments of beauty and joy and love. You were meant to live in peace. Not without challenge. Challenge is what drives us on. But if you know from the higher level of you that you created the challenges to discover more about yourself, the challenges will never end as long as you're in physical experience. Never end. You will always have challenges. Always. They are meant to lead you to more of you. If you know how the game works, you can win the game. It's just a matter of knowing how it works. Once you understand that, once you understand the bigger picture of who you are, once you understand how big you are, once you understand that you go right from you, right back to the top of all that is, right back to the top level, you will never again question your worthiness. You will never again question your being here. You will never again question how important you are to this idea that we call all that is, or God. Never again. We're going to do something here for a moment to close, more or less close the show. We'll wrap up with some parting announcements, but what I want to do is take a moment and I'm going to reach to the highest level that I can find within my heart, within all that is, or God, And I'm going to allow that energy to flow through me. And if it's something that you feel that you want to align yourself with and feel along with me, then I will offer it to you. So give me a moment, please. I'm going to focus in on this, what we call God, or all that is. I'm going to focus in at that highest level that I can reach and let that emanate through my heart. And consider that my gift, or my blessing. I'll be back in 1 minute. All right, I'm back, folks. I'm going to reach up now. Feel into my heart. Feel into the blessings that all that is has for you. I am but a director of that energy. As another child of all that is, I offer this. It will appear quiet while I'm doing this. I'm just allowing the energy to flow through me. So you haven't lost me. I'm still here. Try and feel into it. We're going to go silent for about a minute or two. All that is would like you to know that you are all its children. It loves you all unconditionally. It wants you to know of your worthiness and of the love that is being sent to you that sustains us in every single moment. If you've tuned in recently, you are listening to Philip Mollica's Consciousness Evolution Hour. You are here with Philip and Debbie and Petra and Tamara and All That Is and Max. Hello, Max. And Phi. Hello, Phi. They are our Crystal Skull and Voga. Phi Vogel Crystal. Thank you. I don't know why I didn't know that. A beautiful. Tell us about Phi for a moment.
Phi is a 144 faceted crystal quartz, clear crystal quartz that is cut to on its base to the 51 degrees in relation to like how the pyramids were built.
All right, let me go slowly. 144 facets on all the sides, coming to a point. His base is based on the 51 degrees that the pyramids were built on.
He also has all the basic properties of a clear crystal quartz.
And he also has the basic properties of clear crystal quartz.
Because of his channel, which is a channeled cut.
It's a channeled cut.
That can actually create a theta coherence.
Creates a theta coherence.
With the higher intelligence.
And through you, the intent of the facilitator.
And they can create many things. One of the ways to do that is through actual physical healing of the body.
And physical healing is used in physical healing often, and other things. Thank you very much. And Max is our crystal skull, who Max represents the 13th.
There's Max, who is the 13th, who is known as the caretaker of Joanne Parks.
Under Joanne Parks, and Max was activated.
Yes, as
with Max. Shana Ra, the 12th. Thank you very much, Tamara. I appreciate it. And so you're here with all of us, and we have enjoyed our interaction with you greatly tonight. We're most appreciative for our ability to be here and to share this information with you. Once again, I just want to mention, and I know I've said this a number of times throughout the show, but we really are entering the last mile. This 2015-2016, we really are going to see everything change. We had the misfortune of, while we had our nails done the other day, of seeing a newscast. We couldn't have been more appalled and confused. I was like, really? This is the status quo for the news today? It was I just couldn't. I thought I was watching Saturday Night Live or something. It was incredible. But the idea being that we truly are moving very quickly into a new awareness, and even the human collective is very dependent upon all of us who are involved in this work to express genuinely and authentically, and to be who we are, to align to ourselves completely in that sense, and reflect that out onto the world. And I will ask all of you listening today to please do you, be you. Reflect that beautiful reflection that is you, that is reflection of all that is, out into the world, and allow your light to shine in that sense and to become a part of the collective experience, because you will create change simply through your doing you. And that really is all that I would ask of you. Because in doing you, you honor all that is, and you honor yourself, and you honor all of us who are doing this work together, creating this energetic space to allow us to shift into a new form, a new awareness of consciousness, a new awareness of who we really are. So to close the show, on behalf of myself, and Rob Gauthier and the Enlightenment Evolution Network, and Debbie, and Max, and Phi, and Tamara, and Petra, our deepest love and gratitude to all of you. And we wish you a fond and most lovely evening. Good night.